Hi and welcome back to my channel in this a little bit unusual environment. I hope the video and audio is okay, especially the audio. You never know, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'm currently out traveling, as you might have guessed, and that's why we're suddenly here. But I do enjoy traveling, and I'm nearby the city of Bergen, which is the most beautiful Norwegian city there is, so do recommend if you're interested. Anyway, I thought I'd speak a little bit about expectations in this video. I recently read the latest Murakami novel. I was very lucky to have that before everyone else here in this country, or nearly, and I wondered why I enjoyed it, because there were so many things about it I would have hated if it happened to be another author, another novel, and it made me think, could it have something to do with expectations? This topic has also appeared earlier when I've discussed genres and books and movies with a friend of mine. He very much enjoys horror, and he tries to talk about the relationship he and the author has between them. So the author sort of promises that they will try and scare him, and he will try to get scared, or he will think that I'm going to get scared at some point. And all in all, they'll both enjoy that process. For those of you that have watched my videos for a while, you know that I don't particularly like horror. I've never seen the point in getting scared, but I do find it interesting thinking about an author making a promise to me and let's just see if he keeps it. Well, I think that's one aspect of expectations. You get into a book hoping to find something that you're looking for, and you hope the author will deliver. And with that said, Murakami novel, he delivered on being Murakami, and sometimes it feels like that alone is enough, even though that doesn't make any sense at all. But there's something about Murakami books that I like, and how much of that is the relatability to other of his novels, and how much is it in the language that he uses? I haven't really wrapped my head around it, but I like to think of the subject. I guess there are also two other genres I think about when I think about expectations. One of them is crime fiction. I feel like people that read crime fiction only reads crime fiction. That's probably not true, but in the Nordics, a lot of people tend to read a lot of crime fiction, and they know what they like and they know what to expect. The other genre is maybe not a genre at all, but it's romance. So people that seek out romance novels, they know what they like and they know what they hope to achieve with that sort of novel. And I respect it. I don't think I understand it. I could never be the person that only reads one thing, I think. Maybe that just means that I haven't found the right novel yet, but so far I can't grasp it. I need to have all sorts of books to look at and read. I know that many people that have reading as a hobby do it for the escapism. I get how people don't want to live on this planet, and reading, well, it could get you there, or at least as good as. And thus reading fantasy makes a lot of sense. You have new worlds, nothing is really the same, or could be, but could also not be at all. I still wonder why people want to discover the Middle Ages again, or there's something there, but in general there are a lot of books about the Middle Ages, and I don't get the hype. I'm probably derailing already, but the point is that a lot of people sit down and choose books based on what they expect this book to be. Probably 99% when I think about it, but the genre is one way of splitting it into groups of things you might enjoy. Also, you have authors. When I pick up a Fredrik Backman book, I'm probably thinking that I'm going to cry at some point and think that human beings are beautiful, even though deep down inside me, I don't know. But Fredrik Backman makes me believe that people are beautiful. So maybe I'll read books from him again when I feel like I need to restore my faith in humanity. And that's my expectations, or expectation of his books. But what happens when expectations are not met? Elin from Lunacha Books commented one of my videos when I read the notebook from Agatha Christoph. I found that novel to be disturbing and good. And she told me something like, and I'm probably not citing this correctly, but she could not believe in it. She couldn't believe the story. And it occurred to me after I read that comment that, well, I really get how you could not believe this story because it's crazy. And if I'd gone into this novel with another mindset, with another expectation of this being like correct historical fiction, I would also be kind of bummed or irritated. But since I hadn't a clue of what this book was supposed to be about, I wasn't bothered by the fact that there is kind of like a lot of unbelievable things happening in that novel, or those 3 novels. I found that to be an interesting thought. I've probably thought something similar a lot of times where I've hated a book and just thought that if I tweaked my mind a little bit, if I just lowered my expectations or I set myself in another mood, this would be a whole lot better. But it's never that easy. Another thing that I would categorize as sort of breaking my expectations is also when the narrator shifts quite a bit from like you sort of feel like you're alone with one character, the character speaks directly to you, and then suddenly it switches. So there's a narrator, like a god from above, just talking about how things really are in that environment where you feel like you're alone with the character and it's only you two. And I could get really frustrated when that happens because I feel like I'm interrupted in my train of thought. I feel like, well, you don't belong here. We're in this together. You're not a part of it. Sort of that kind of thing. Also, when I'm talking about it now, I go sort of through the books that I would love to have liked better in my head. Sort of Frankenstein is one example. I hate that novel, but many times I just feel like, shouldn't I have liked it more? Was I too harsh on it? Also Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I feel bad for her for selling so many copies of her books. Doesn't really make sense, but I do feel bad. My head also started spinning thinking about, is this one of the reasons why it's difficult for authors writing the second novel? Do they sit there at home and think, what do my audience expect from me now? Or maybe that's just an awful approach. Or it probably is an awful approach, but I guess some authors might sit at home and wonder, did my audience like my book from this or that reason? When you've written 10 books, you probably have an idea of why people latched onto your book so nicely. But yeah, I'm just spitballing here. I think I'll try to land this thing. I guess I'm always trying to find my next favorite author or novel. I'm always on the lookout for, like, what is my kind of reading? Maybe my kind of read is everything and all of it. I feel like I'm going in that direction where I just find everything fascinating, and well, that sort of makes sense. But I'm trying to look at what my expectations are doing to my reading, and could it help just lower my expectations generally? Feels like a dark thought in many ways. So I guess this was my video. Sort of a messy one. If you haven't checked out my Murakami review, please do so if you feel like it. Thank you for watching this madness, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!